Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick here. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody is having an unbelievable start to your, shoot, it's not a start. Your weekend is probably ending after today. But anyway, hope you have a great start to your day. For those who are getting started, those are already in the a move of things. Hopefully, you have a great finish to your day. Anyway, I'm not going to be long, but I'm excited. I'm stopping by to talk to you. Um, the beautiful thing that I love about what I do is I get to interact with people and people get to tell me what's on their mind. People get to tell me what they're thinking about, what's going on, how they feel about certain things, what they would like to hear from me, what they would like to hear me speak on. And I try to respond to it as much as possible across the different disciplines that I have mastered over the course of my adult life and business career, and what I do and what I'm passionate about. And so everybody that's been following me knows that I've been really pushing my 7-day online business launch, which is helping people get an online presence to where they can generate supplemental income, or if they're really truly willing to go all out, create a new primary stream of income online. It is what has sustained me. It is what has allowed me to resuscitate my business career over 10 years ago when the economic collapse hit and a bunch of other things happened simultaneously and left me having to start over. I chose to go the online route and develop and build my enterprises online, which allowed me to expand my reach far beyond my locale. It has been one of the best decisions I've made. And so I've been pushing that, right? And then someone came to me and said, hey, the idea of starting a business online is great to me. I'm all in. But for someone who doesn't understand the basics of business, how does that work? How do you go, from being an employee to actually going into a situation where you're starting a business, but you don't understand the basics of business? I say, valid point. Uh, there are some things that you can do. The thing that I wanted to do was give people an opportunity to immediately get online. And there's some basic things that you do every day, and you can really generate revenue without totally understanding business. But if you are planning to have longevity in it, if you're planning to stretch it beyond maybe a year or two, and there are some things you need to understand. So what I decided to do is I sat down a few weeks ago and I said, okay, let's do something for people who want to be solid in what they're doing. So I created um, a lesson in business basics, and it's basically Rick Wallace presents a lesson in business basic. It's an event that I'm going to do in October. But what I'm doing now is allowing people to come in and register at a fraction of the registration cost. It's going to be a $197 registration, but today through next week, it's going to be $97. But let me tell you why I think this is a great idea. And I'm glad the person came to me because there's so much to understand about basics. What I'm going to do in this is I'm going to define what a business is. I'm going to teach you the importance of a business plan, but not only am I going to teach you the importance of a business plan, I'm going to give you a template to help you write the business plan along with step-by-step instructions on writing the business plan. I'm going to teach you the importance of having a marketing analysis and what that means. I'm going to teach you the importance of being able to read the market so that you stay ahead of trends. That's important. I'm going to show you a bunch of free tools that are out there to help you promote and grow your business at little to no cost. I'm going to teach you the importance of collaboration and outsourcing. One of the biggest mistakes that we make when we get into business is attempting to try to do everything ourselves, attempting to corral all the profit, but limiting ourselves in profit and not realizing it. You're one person. You can't do everything. You're going to have to learn how to work with other people to really, truly expand your enterprise, your impact, your reach, and your longevity. Another thing that's so important is customer engagement. Customer engagement means understanding and having customer intelligence. What's that? An understanding and awareness of your target audience. What moves them to buy? What are they looking for? What are they responding to? How do you approach them? creating the proper customer experience. We are now dealing in an environment where there's so much information out there that it's no longer just simply good enough to get them a quality product or to get them. They want an experience now because they are aware of what's out there and what everybody's doing and what other people are bragging about they got over at this dealership, or what everybody got at this boutique, or what everybody got with this particular consultant. And so now they have this idea of what they want outside of getting the results. They want an experience that they can talk about, that they can sit up and live. And you want to give them that experience. The importance of customer experience is huge. But the biggest thing to me when I think about customers is customer retention. Why? Because that's the longevity of your business. My business has been sustained not because of my ability to acquire customers or to get people to buy what I'm selling. It is getting people to reinvest at a higher level consistently. In other words, they start here, they get the results they want, and then they say, you know what, I want to take it a step higher. And you not only be able to deliver that, but you're delivering it in quality. You're giving them an experience that they literally identify with. They become attached. They become loyal. You hear customer loyalty all the time. Customer loyalty is what guarantees long-term success in business. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how you move in that. The beautiful thing about getting into business now is social media. Here's the problem that I see in social media. Most people on social media are spending so much time trying to convince people of their success that they are failing to use the platforms as a means of becoming successful. My thing is I do everything I can to share things that uplift people. I do everything that I can to share people to stuff that challenges people to move in ways that enhance their life and their lifestyle. I definitely promote my business and what I do. I'm offering myself in many ways, but just being on there to try to impress people or make a person feel you have something that you don't, or you've done something that you haven't, and you could literally actually be doing it if you understood how this thing worked. People are literally eating off of what's going on social media, and a lot of times we're on there and we don't realize we're telling them what we want, and they're presenting it to us in the exact way we say we want it, and we go, well, wow. And there you go, and you jump on it. The thing is, you have the ability with social media, with the internet, to properly engage people, to present things in a way that you can literally enhance what you're doing, enhance your lifestyle, grow your business, promote your idea. Now, again, I'm going to go back to the top and then I'm going to be done. We're going to talk about all the things I just mentioned. But here's the thing, defining business. People always talk about having a business. And I'm often asked, what are the considerations you give when you're thinking about starting a business? My thing is, people are constantly telling you what they want. What you have to do is ask yourself, does my skill set or the connections I have put me in a position to solve that problem or meet that need? And if it is, then there is a way to generate revenue doing it, because if something is valuable enough for a person to have, to acquire, to achieve, to accomplish, they will pay for it. So in essence, a business is this: identifying a problem, looking at yourself, your skill set, your connections, your resources, and saying, can I meet that need? Can I solve that problem? And if so, how do I solve that problem? And then once you determine you can solve the problem, you say, okay, what is it worth to this group of people, your target audience, the people who are in the scope of that experience that problem in a prevalent manner? And you say, okay, what is it? How valuable is it to them? And you look at it, and you can look at what other people are doing. If there are other people trying to meet the needs, you can look at what they're doing and how they're presenting it and whatever. Or if it's something so unique that you're coming in with, you are the trendsetter. And when you are the trendsetter, you get to set the price, because you're the first person that's coming in with a realistic resolution to what it is that they're asking for. And so that is the beginning of business. So my first consideration is, when I'm looking at something and saying, okay, am I going to enter into this market? The first consideration is there a problem prevalent enough that people are anxious and have an urgency to have a solution to this problem that doesn't already exist, or that I feel I can do in a way that it isn't being done, or do it better than it's being done. That's the first consideration. Then I have to consider how I'm going to deliver it. In what manner am I going to present it? In what manner am I going to deliver it? In what manner will it best serve the people who need it, so that they can have access to it, so that they can experience it, and so that they can see the results. And so it's problem solving with a level of quality. And then finally, it's how unique is the solution. Because here's what happens. You enter into a market, and the big part of the market is going to be dominated by people with big bucks. You know, if you go into retail, your Macy's and all the dealer and all those are going to be dominating that. That's not where you're going to get on at as an individual business owner or an entrepreneur. You're going to find small spaces like boutiques and stuff like that. But then you have to understand is why, or, you know, how am I going to get people who are going to these big places to come over? You're going to be looking for people who are looking for nuanced products and services, something that's slightly off or something that's unique, that they can go and have an experience that the average person isn't having. The experience is huge. I keep saying customer experience is huge, because you can provide the same product, but provide it in a different way, and people will gravitate towards you if the way you're providing it provides an experience that they enjoy. So that's the thing you're looking for. Put your personality into your business, because your personality is unique to you, and your uniqueness is what's going to distinguish you from other business owners. So you have to have a problem. Now, some people go for the need, not the need. Some people go for wants. There are trends on wants. There are trends. I haven't ever been a trend jumper. Trend jumpers can produce a lot of money real quick, but you got to keep jumping trends, because the trend dies. Primary example, when the pandemic first hit, selling masks was a big thing. You could get a bunch of loot real quick. The problem is, yes, exactly, a niche. Perhaps you have to jump into a niche. Black ice apparel, you're right on point. So here's the thing though, selling masks and stuff associated with the pandemic was cool for a while, but eventually people are going to stop wanting masks. People are going to start moving back to there being less people who need it. And then what happens is there's no longer a market for it, and the market is saturated with masks. You can go almost any store now and find masks on the shelf. Nobody's buying them because that trend died. I would rather find a problem that's going to be systemic or going to be long-term, and then come up with a solution for the problem. And I now have longevity. I got into human behavior. People are going to always have problems that they need help solving, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and in business. So I became a business consultant. I became a life coach, and I've been a psychologist, and I work with people doing those things because I love it. And then I've gotten in business a bunch of other things simply because the opportunity was there and the need was there, and I could meet the need. I'm one of those people that I never say I can't. So if someone says, hey, look, man, there's this going on, and they're saying, right now we need this, and I don't know where to get it at. I don't know where to get it at tells me there's a need, a problem that somebody needs, and there's nobody out there doing it in a way that they see anything from it. So what am I going to do? Say, no, I don't know. No, I'm going to say, I'm going to do it. Then I'm going to go find out. If it's not something I have an expertise, then I'm going to go find the person who does. I'm going to build a partnership and collaboration with them and say, hey, look, I have a client. This client needs this. What do you charge? Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell the client what I'm going to charge them to get it done. I'm going to work with this person and I'm going to get it done. That's collaboration. That's also can be considered outsourcing, third-party outsourcing. But what you have to learn how to do is be able to see the opportunity. So many times we don't see the opportunity. So many times we don't jump on the opportunity. So many times we're so busy moving about and chasing stuff that we don't slow down to see there are needs out there to be met every day. Here's the thing. While most people are on social media socializing and one-upping one another and all the other stuff that happens, there is a group of people like myself and a lot of other businesses, and definitely the big ones, that are simply on there paying attention to what you post. I have literally conducted studies as a person who uses scientific method to understand things. I conduct studies. That's what I do. I do research. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, especially Facebook, YouTube. But here's the thing: all I have to do is find someone who's posted something that I want to collect data on, and then I sit up and I observe how people respond to it. And then I get all of the answers. I can collect that data. Now, here's the thing: a lot of people don't realize you can go to Facebook in your settings and request all your data be downloaded. You can take everything that's current all the way back to when you first started and have it downloaded, or you can pick certain spots or time frames and say, I want this information downloaded. Now I take that downloaded information. Now I categorize it. I break it down, analyze. It's telling me what people want. And there are companies a lot larger with a lot more money than what I have that can sit up and literally have algorithms that pull that stuff. And they are sitting up and they're looking at what you're saying and what you're doing, and they're gathering information, learning how to market to you, how to sell you, how to move you. Pharmaceutical companies are learning how to sell you. All this stuff is a part of how everybody's doing business. A bunch of us are on there socializing, and then other people are setting up their business enterprise by observing what we say, how we say it, what we complain about, what we enjoy, where we like to travel, what music we like. I mean, we're telling them everything. The best place to gather customer intel right now is social media. If you need to know what your target audience is talking about, I guarantee you there are at least 20 groups on Facebook where people who want to buy your product, your service, your expertise, your specialty. And let me tell you something. Don't tell me you don't have a service to offer. If you've worked for your company for 10, 15 years, you've put enough time in that you are literally an expert in whatever it is you did for them. And there's a place that needs your consulting advice in order to do better in what they're doing. Trust me. But you got to have a mindset shift. And I talk a lot about that. My morning motivational stuff is about how you're thinking, how you're moving, why you haven't moved yet. But I want to give you the strategic side because that's important as well. Over the course of my 30 years, I've literally dove into 47 endeavors. I brought all of them to profitability. Some of them I dove into knowing that I was going to sell at a certain particular time, but I wanted to move into it just in some instances just to prove that I could. And in other instances, hey man, I want to get that. I'm not going to pass the opportunity up. It's not something I'm passionate about. And you got to know how much you can handle at once. Well, if I'm looking and saying, man, I'm pretty big, but I'm not passing that opportunity up. Get in on it, get something out of it, sell it, move on. But, and again, I'm one of those people that believe if you don't have an exit strategy on your business, you have a glorified job. Even if you plan on doing your business the rest of your life, you need to have an exit strategy that is beneficial to you economically, socially, and for your emotional and mental health. You got to have that, or you just have a glorified job, something you got to do every day, or you're going to sink. And then it becomes something that drains you. That's on another level. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is what a business is. And I distinguish between a business and a company. A company is something that does business. The business is the actual service you deliver. You're doing business with someone. You're doing an exchange with someone. You're providing them with something, and they're providing you with some form of compensation. The company is simply the housing of what type of business you do. So you got a bunch of companies that ain't doing no business, in other words. So what I decided to do, somebody came to me and said, hey, man, I love that course, 7-day business lunch. And literally that just came from over 10 years ago and say, man, I got to restart and I'm going to build my enterprise online this time. Why? Because now I have clients in Australia, South Africa, the UK. I have them in certain destinations in Kenya, Nairobi, and in the Caribbean. And I have clients obviously in the US. And I am locally in wherever place I'm living at the time, because I've lived in more than one place since I've started this. But where I'm saying is it extends my reach. It takes the limits off of what I'm capable of doing. It allows me to move more fluently and have better reach. My thing is really big about reach because I'm trying to help people change their lives. So what am I saying? I'm saying that this is by far the greatest opportunity and chance to enter into the world of business, especially for people who are willing to get out there online, because you can do it at, I mean, literally at no startup, if you're willing to go a lesser refined route. I'm real big on branding, so it's going to cost you a little bit. You want a name, you want a domain name that is reflective of what you're doing. Costs you anywhere from $9 to $15. You want a professionally polished website. If you are good with moving and doing spatial things, you can probably get that done for a little or nothing yourself if you've got the time. If not, you can pay someone like my company, Myriad Business Solutions, to do it for you for $500 or less, depending on how you want it. I remember when I started, getting a good website could be as expensive as $5,000. And depending on what you wanted to do and how you want to do, it can still be pretty costly. But what you need to do in the presence you're trying to create, it doesn't need all of that. You have everything it takes. But what you're going to also have to have is an understanding of the importance of customer engagement. You need to be able to meet a need. You have to be very defined and precise in saying why you're different from everybody else, because everybody's out there. But what I love about my approach to business is, okay, I'm going to identify a problem. Then I'm going to see if I'm capable of providing the solution. If I'm capable of providing the solution, how is my solution different than the others that have been presented? How much more effective is my solution than the others that have been presented? And how effectively can I distribute or dispense the solution? That's the first thing. The second thing is always be available and in some way make sure that you're providing a quality product. That nothing is perfect. So I'm gonna tell you where you really actually win at is when someone has a question or a concern because something was missed. Your humanity is engaged and presented, and the natural thought process of the client, customer, whatever you want to call them, is, hey, here we go. When you respond, or your team responds, depending on whether you bring in an automated response system or whatever, however you're going to do, all this stuff is out there. But what happens is when you respond, hey, look, I'm sorry. Let me take care of that for you. Throw a little extra stuff in there. Look, you know what? You didn't get your book. Tell you what, I'm going to send the book out to you, and I'm going to also spend this special guide on XYZ. And I'm going to send that out at no charge and whatever. And I mean, sometimes to quiet a client, I'm like, hey, look, I'll give you a free session with me. That's $350. It's on me. When are you available? Why? Because that is huge. Because it's not about getting a person's money the first time. It's about getting a person to believe in what you're doing and respect what you're doing at a level that they're connected with you. And they may not spend with you for a while, but the next time they need what you offer, they're coming to you. But more importantly, they are telling other people about you. And even more importantly, they're not out there bad mouthing you. These are the things that are so important to business that, quote unquote, most Black businesses get black eyes for, when actually most of us do a pretty decent job at doing it. So we have to understand that people are expecting us to do things horribly, and they actually want us to be perfect when no place is perfect. All you got to do, if you want to realize how horrible customer service is now, call any place that you have an account and try to get a live agent on the phone. Oh, that's fun. You're gonna find out if your Zen is and your chi is at Zen level if you call and try to get somebody on the phone live. But here's the thing. I'm doing this event because I want people to win. I want people to know that they can be out there creating their life and establishing a life for themselves. And this is why business is so important to me. It allows me the freedom to move in my life the way I need to be the best I can for the people in my circle, the people I love, my family. It allows me to set a course in my life that I can set up and establish, hey, this is where I want to be, and work hard at it and get there. It's not easy. I don't want anybody to think it's easy. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of ability to take hits, because nothing is perfect. But here's the thing. When I die, I leave what I built to my progeny, to the people that I've worked hard for. When you're working a job, that job goes to the next man up, and your family gets whatever's in your pension, if there's anything in there. But when you're sitting up and you're building, you get to build. And plus, you set an example for the next generation of what's possible. There's so much into this on a psychological, spiritual, and emotional level. But I also want you to understand that if you gain an understanding of these principles, defining a business, the importance of a business plan, marketing analysis, understanding how to enter a market, understanding where you find your space. One of the biggest things that you're going to have to understand when you get a business is, where's my market share? What part of the market do I want? I'm not trying to compete with Tony Robbins. I'm not trying to compete with Eric Thomas. I'm not trying to compete with Les Brown. I found a space where what I do, nobody else does. Not on the level I do it, not with the crossing and dissecting disciplines that I have. And so I have a unique space, and I'm good there, and I'm growing it, and I'm expanding it, and I'm building exposure. And I'm at that place now where this month is about the scale out. And so I'm like really strained and pulled, but at the same time, man, look, I'm excited. Why? Because I built it. There's nothing like that feeling. And I want people to experience that. And so this particular event, which is Rick Wallace Presents the Lesson in Business Basics. I'm sitting up here looking at the screen. I just created some graphics for it. And so I'm looking at the screen. I got screens everywhere. But I'm looking at it, and I want to really help people. So this is going to pop off in mid-October. It's going to be a virtual event. I'm actually going to be doing a live virtual event in November. You don't want to miss that. This is going to be the Manifest Greatness thing. We were going to do it this month, but I decided to actually do a live one where we're going to have people in the audience, but we're also going to have a virtual opening where people can come in, and we're going to have screens up in the auditorium of people who are live. And we're going to let those people who are live also ask questions and do things. We're excited about that. That's going to take a little time to happen, but we're doing that in November. But in October, I am doing this Business Basics live event, but we're going to cover all the things I said. Let me go over them real briefly again, and then I'm off of here. We're going to define what a business is, solving a problem, basically. But I'm going to break it down to you how you do it. I'm going to show you how you are able to identify business opportunities by simply paying attention to what you see on social media. The importance of having an effective business plan, how to write it. I'm going to give you a template to write it. We're going to give you step-by-step instructions to write it. We're going to talk to you about marketing analysis. We're going to give you information on that. We're going to give you information on how to set up an online presence. We're going to give you information on how to promote your online presence using free tools or low-cost tools. We're going to teach you how to read the market that you're in so that you can stay ahead of trends. Here's the thing that was said at the turn of the century. It said that in the turn of the century, literacy is not going to be determined by whether you can read or write. It's going to be determined by whether or not you have the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn in real time. And that's what you're going to have to do now, because technology has pushed us so far ahead that everything is happening in real time. We used to have to check the news to see what was going on. We know what's going on before the news gets it. So now all of this means you've got to be aware of what's going on so that you can stay ahead of the game. The further you stay ahead of the trend, the more of the revenue that comes into that market based off of that trend comes to you. Be the trendsetter, and oh my God, be the one right behind the trendsetters, and you're still in a good place. Be the one trailing the trend, and you get the crumbs and the residue and the residuals. You want to be ahead of most trends, or at least right in line with them. Collaboration and outsourcing is so important to be able to collaborate in order to expand your reach, expand your capacity. Everything can't be done by you. Trying to do everything is going to stress you out and put you in a situation where you're going to be putting out a subpar product. Learn how to collaborate, learn how to work with people, bring people in who are good at what they do better than you are. So there comes a point where Rick has to stop doing his own marketing, bring in a marketing team that will be able to look at things and say, okay, it's time for you to stop doing your videos like that. So I done got the whole lecture. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to shoot that in the studio from now on. We're going to do this. You can do that, but we're going to take it, and then we're going to post go through post-production of your videos before they go out so we can get them out. Now, when you do your lives, and nothing we can do with that, that's a live stream. But when we do things that we really want to, we want it to have a certain look. We want your brand to pop. I don't know what a pop is, but I want it. I want my brand to pop. It just sounds good, don't it? I want it to pop. So all of that means, hey, look, so, all the stuff we're going to talk about, bleed rates and all that stuff, about, when you get to a break-even point in your things where your marketing is at least paying for itself and all the things that come up to it. My business is actually primarily as a consultant and a counselor or therapist, but I also own a business consulting firm, and I work in that vein as well. So my primary work is dealing with people in getting this right. And not just in a sense of trauma, but in a sense of understanding what it takes to go out there and win, because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, I go out there and I click on a switch and it happens. People ask me all the time, and I'm a little bit off, but a certain person asked what my business is. I have multiple businesses. Rick Wallace Enterprises has the Visionatics Institute, Myriad Business Solution, Master Fitness 21, Odyssey Media Group and Publishing, just to name a few. But just Google Dr. Rick Wallace or Rick Wallace PhD, and you can get to see a bunch of stuff that I'm into and I have going on now. But this right here, you take the limits off of it. You stop buying into the idea that this is all I can ever do. Oh my God. People ask me, so you have an expertise in this. So that's what you've used to accumulate. No, you've done this. You've authored 25 books. But what people don't understand is when I started, I hadn't authored any. People look at what you've done and don't realize you started somewhere where nothing was done and you created something. And that's what it's about. It's about creating. So people ask me, well, what is it then? Because they want to say it's because you're this, it's because you're that. Because no, I didn't always have a doctorate degree. Well, I actually have two, but I didn't always have that. That's an accomplishment. That was something I went out and created because I wanted it. Not because I needed it to get somewhere, because I wanted it, because I have this thing about academic excellence. I love to read. I love to study. I wanted to be able to need to know something and know the most effective way to learn it, to know it, to discover it, to use what I have to create an analysis about how I'm going to use what I just learned to apply it to life and change. That's what I do. That's how I created Black Men Lead, which is a rite of passage initiative. I decided to do a study on African-American adolescent and young adult male violence. What I brought out of it is the most powerful tool in affecting that is racial socialization. Also, it reduces dropout rates. It also reduces criminality and incarceration. Whoa, here's the thing. So I created Black Men Lead, a rite of passage which racially socializes. But the bottom line is this: when they ask me, well, what is it? You know what it is? Relentlessness. I'm relentless. My one word is relentless. I make up in my mind I'm going to do something, and then I go do it. A lot of times, almost every time that I make up in my mind that I'm going to do something that I've never done before, the chances are I don't have a clue how to do it. That's what normally happens. If you're trying to do something you've never done before, chances are you don't have the warehouse. And what most people do is when they consult their past about their future, their past says, you don't know how to do it. You've never done that. And what do? They say, oh, well, it was a nice idea. No, you don't consult your past about doing something different in the future. Your past is a set of experiences and memories. It can only tell you where you've been and what you've done. If it's something new you want, you can't consult the past. What do you got to do? You got to sit up and say, I'll figure it out. And the beautiful thing about it is the moment that you start to figure it out, the moment that you make up in your mind that you're going to move forward, the moment that you make up in your mind that you're not going to give in, the moment that you make up in your mind, guess what? The gates of providence open. People you've been around your whole business career, all of a sudden comes and say, hey, I heard you were doing this. I know this person. Person walks up to you. I always see you in here doing it. What are you doing? And you tell them, man, you know what? I've been looking for somebody like that. All of this stuff. But if you never move on it, if you never take action, if you never put skin in the game, it just becomes an idea. It's just an idea sitting there. And like the late Dr. Miles Monroe says, the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery. You go to the cemetery, you find books not written, inventions not created, ideas never taken out of a point of an idea and put into motion. You find all kind of businesses never started. You take people and they've taken their entire potential to the grave with them. So when I do a video, at the end of the video, I have a tendency to say I live my life on full so that I die on E. All that means is I'm not taking my potential to the grave. I'm going to give life everything I have. Every day, I make sure I invest what I have for that day in that day. I'm going to say this and I'm done. I tell people all the time, procrastination is the thief of time and opportunity. And it's an act of arrogance. And people say, how is procrastination arrogance? It's an arrogance that believes I will have time tomorrow to do what I should be doing today. It's an assumption beyond your capacity to fulfill. And that right there leads to so many lost possibilities because we're not living our lives with value for every second. 86,400 seconds in a day. How you live those is going to determine the outcome of your life, period, point blank. No matter what it is you're trying to do, no matter how it is you're trying to do it. That's it. You are going to have to wake up and say, you know what? Next level. Oh, man. And there's always a next level. You never arrive. You leave this place having put everything in it behind you. You don't get to sit around. I don't believe in retirement. Retirement is something that came about and was created in the industrial age so that could be room for the newer people entering into a market where corporations were creating jobs so that they can expand their riches and their wealth. In real time, you always did what you was created to do until you left this place. You know, the blacksmith did what the blacksmith did. The tailor did what the tailor did. The farmer did what the farmer. You don't retire. That's why you find so many people going into mental decline shortly after retirement. Seem to be perfectly healthy. Next thing you know, 4 or 5 years down the line, you hear about their health declining or they passed away. Why? No sense of purpose anymore. No reason to really wake up. No drive anymore. Not having to use this to solve situations and problems that they've done all their life. They also get a sense of not belonging, not having a reason to be here. I'm not retiring. I'm going all in. Now, there's a point I want to get to where I know I don't have to work anymore. But I'm not stopping because as long as I can think, as long there is work to be done. And look, it's up to you what you do. For everybody that stopped in and spent time with me today, thank you. Those who shared, who got in, thank you. There's a link in the description box for this particular thing. Like I said, it's the registration eventually is going to be $197, which I think is a small price. We pay more than that to go to concerts. I'm talking about doing something that you can take and literally multiply time and time again. Every time you exact a business transaction, you can sit up and actually recuperate what you're investing in this. I have nothing against concert. I am a music lover, but what I'm sitting up saying is we have to start prioritizing for our future empowerment and advancement. And so look, it's going to eventually be $197, but for the next week, it's going to be $97. The link is in the box. Go ahead and register. When you register, you should hear within 24 hours from our support team acknowledging your registration, and then they will forward that on to me, and I will be personally sending out the material that will give you the basis and the foundation of what we're going to cover and how we're going to cover it. And you can actually email me back leading up to the event with questions that may set up things that I haven't planned to talk about that I should talk about. This is an opportunity to be a part of something where you can literally not only help yourself, but help others. On that note, look, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I down and eat. My challenge is that you do the same thing. On that note, I am out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.